It's time to hurt feelings. I know there's some Ram fanboys out there and Ford fanboys out there who think their trucks are better, but at the end of the day, which truck is actually better? I'm going to give you my unbiased opinion in this video. I borrowed these trucks from Ken Garff Automotive Group in West Valley, Utah. Ford and Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram are at the same location, right next door to each other. So if you want to compare trucks and test drive them back to back, you have that luxury here. Just be sure to ask for Ken at the Ford store, Josh at the Ram store. Let's go ahead and check out the window stickers so you guys can get an idea of the pricing on these builds. Before I show you guys the window sticker, which truck do you think is more expensive? In the comment section down below, don't cheat, put it in there right now. Is Ford more expensive or the Ram? The way that these trucks are spec'd out. All right, here we go. This is a limited, this is a platinum, just in case you need reference, okay? So these are the top trims for both of these trucks. There's no games here. Let's go. Starting off with the most expensive truck. You ready? It ain't the Ford. Oh, it's the Ram. The Ram is more expensive in configuration. Base price is $92,980. The Ford starts at $82,195. Anyone want to guess why the Ram is more expensive for base price? Well, it gets worse. If you look at the options, so on the Ram, it has the paint, which is a pearl for $295, cold weather group, max tow package. It also has the wired tow mode for the rear view mirror because it uses a camera. Limited level 1 is $45.95. Sunroof, instrument panel, auxiliary switches. It has everything. Dual rear wheel, and you guys see right there 2.4 kilowatts of power. So it has the dual alternators. And base price with the destination and all the options, you're at $108,890. So the diesel does come standard, and that's why the Ram is more expensive. But even with all the options, guys, you see right there, so the high output for the Ford is $13,495. Rapid heat is $350. Also engine block heater, pro power, fifth wheel hitch prep kit. Also security code, twin panel roof, upfitter switches. With base price, destination at $25.95 with all the options, you're at $104,715. I almost wonder, if I had an F350, would that Ram still be more expensive? Now, if you don't know, the Ram has a $12,995 diesel option. As you guys just saw, Ford's is $500 more, okay? One thing I like about the Ford is platinum is pretty much the top. You don't have to get any more options on this truck. Now, there is a plus package, but the plus package is just being bougie. And for some people, this is just enough truck. Now, for 2026, you now have blackout. Kind of like what you see on that Ram. Now, Ford does go about it a little bit differently. They do give you the satin finish on the front end. And then most of the trim on the truck is either black or painted. And I think that execution is, I would say they almost hit it on the head, but you still get the polished aluminum wheels. So you can finish it off yourself, but Ram does give you just that complete look. And so maybe next time Ford. But listen, at the end of the day, this is what sucks about the Ram. Sucks about it, and why I think I could easily give Ford the win today, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. I still got some things to discuss on this side too. But Ram gives you that level 1 equipment group on a limited trim, and it really ticks me off because that camera on the front end, which is a part of the 360 camera, is an option, and it ticks me off. It really does. I think that is the most silliest thing. You're spending this much money, just give it all those features. 360 is an option on this truck. It's not on the Ford, and that's where I think Ford really does do their homework, because the Platinum Plus package, as I said, is just about being bougie. You get a more premium interior, but this interior is already really nice. It's actually a little bit nicer than the Rams based off of some of the features you can get. And just in case you missed it, so on the limited level 1 for the Ram, The traffic sign recognition, drowsy driver detection, active lane management system, all that stuff is an option. Digital rearview mirror is not available for the Ford, so that is one advantage with this package. The cargo view camera, bed lighting, power deployable running boards. Now, spray-in comes a part of that package. Ford makes that an option too. But yeah, the surround view camera system, come on guys, that is, I still think that's highway robbery on Ram's part, because if you want to skip this package and you still want surround view, you can't get it as a standalone. And adaptive steering, all that stuff basically. So for me personally, when it comes down to speccing out a truck, for me Ram is always hard. If I had to go buy a truck tomorrow, this is how I would spec it. And I still think it's missing maybe one option that I would probably want. Yep, doesn't have the cameras on the mirrors. So I would order my truck. With Ford, it's pretty easy to show up to the dealership and buy what you want. Now on the front end, limited used to mean premium. So this grill now is considered premium. In the past, 2024 and earlier, they truly had a premium grill. They had the premium lights, which were only available for Limited and Longhorn. Now they're available for the Laramie trucks too. So this is not a true premium trim level like it used to be. I'm just being honest here. And with Ford, I think that they just execute Platinum better. It's just my humble opinion. And listen, I don't care which truck wins or loses. I just review the truck. It's not about, you know, your feelings right now. Now, here's what I will say. Ford does have some design issues down below here. That truck has the biggest air dam of any truck in the segment. And I would say for the front end styling, Ram wins for sure. I think that this is a more bolder, well executed truck. And if you want to take it to the next level with the night edition package, they'll give you the Sport Performance hood, they'll paint around the grill, and it just really just sets it off. So as far as styling goes, yes, I think the Ram just executes better. Now both trucks do have projector headlights. One advantage that the Ford has is these headlights are adaptive. So and correct me if I'm wrong, if you do put a trailer on the back of this thing, right, if you hook it up and it squats, those headlights should auto level. These Ram trucks ain't doing that. Now, I do believe they are still directional, because for 2024 and earlier they were. Now, they could have changed that for these. And both trucks have amazing headlights. Now, off to the side, 17-inch wheel on both sides. But here, Michelin tire versus Nexen. Which tire would you want on your truck? Just gonna be honest with you, I want the Michelins. Nothing against Nexen. These tires, they're just not the kind of tire I would like to see on a $108,000 truck. Just being honest here. Not what I wouldn't see. LT 245 75 17. Ram goes with an LT 235 80 17. So can you guys see the difference? See the difference there? Actually, I'm just joking with you. You will not be able to notice an actual difference because it's so minimal, you wouldn't be able to see it. So 31.8 inches in height, 31 and a half, 9.6 inches in width on the Ford side, 9.3 on the Ram. So again, not noticeable. Now, what's really cool about the Ram is they do give you this sensor that will help protect the side of the truck. Ford does not have that. I mean, this one could actually protect a little bit, but yeah, you can tell this one's pointing to the side a little bit more so. Fender flares on the Ram. Ford used to give you fender flares, but then they decided they wanted to save that money. Now, here's some of the badging. As I mentioned, you can get the night edition package with this truck, which would give you the Sport Performance hood and black out all the chrome, but Ford gives it to you standard on Platinum, and that's a big advantage because, remember, that would only raise the price of this truck even more so, which is funny. Now, Ram has the better mirrors. You have these stationary lights, both trucks have that, and the turn signals, both trucks have that. However, power and heated, you guys see it does have the blind spot alert. However, this is not power, this is not heated. On the Ram side, blind spot alert, power heated on both mirrors, love that. And you have the light here, not available for the Ford. You guys see the cameras that help make up that 360. Painted door handles on both sides with smart key system. You guys saw optional power deployable running boards. However, they do come standard here. And on the Ford, they work with the key fob, so that's better on the Ford side of things. Love that. Now you have a little bit of trimming down below, and I will say they still put chrome on those power to pull running boards. I do like these better. And you guys probably wondered, would the truck have an 8-foot bed? Because you have a mega cab, you cannot get an 8-foot bed with this cab. And I had to do this because this was the only limited here. And I know people are gonna make fun of the Ram's cab, so I had to help them a little bit. I gave them a little bit of help, but then it was at the expense of the bed size. So does a dually make sense with a 6'4" bed? I will answer that question after this airplane goes by. It all depends on who you talk to. For me personally, I don't need an 8-foot bed because you guys know fifth wheel towing has advanced so much. They have a lot of ways you can push that fifth wheel back to give you better clearance. And I've dealt with that with my short bed trucks in the past. And so for me, this truck will fit in the garage a little bit better than that 8-foot bed Ford. And because most people do tow with dualies, this makes more sense. I'm gonna be honest, I like the idea of having the clearance and not having to worry about clearance. So that is a really good advantage. So let's talk about the back here. So you have the applique, you have a class 5 hitch, 2.5-inch opening. Same thing goes for that Ram. Ram gives you a step right here. You guys see Ford builds them into the bumper. I like that. I know some of you guys say it looks bad on the Ford trucks. No, it doesn't. It looks great. It's a freaking truck. It should look rugged. So you have these steps here, okay? And out back, full LED tail lights. Same thing goes for the Ram. The only thing the Ram doesn't have, it does not have this power tailgate. And that is a big advantage. Now this is assisted, but if you want this bad boy to go back up like the Ford like this, you're gonna be there all day. You're gonna be there all day doing this. All day, all day. Now, fifth wheel prep package is an option for both trucks. You guys did see, Ford has 2 kilowatts of power in the bed. And Ram said, look at me now. We got 2.4 kilowatts of power. So they have 400 more watts in the bed. Is that an advantage? If you're looking at numbers, you know, everyone likes to talk about horsepower and torque numbers. So if you're looking at numbers, yes, this is obviously better. Up top here, the advantage that the Ram has is you do get the rear view camera, mirror, and bed view. Both were an option. You guys see that sunroof? Whew. You guys see over there in the Ford, it does have a twin panel. So, you know, I gotta admit to you guys, it's not looking good. And it's about to get worse for the Ram because 355 is on this truck is standard, or Ford allows you to get the 410. Now the 410 does give you an upgraded depth cover for cooling, okay? And get this, you increase the 2.5-inch receiver hitch to a 3-inch. It's not available for the Ram. Now the Ram does have an anti-spin, okay? That's nice. But you only get a 342. And because of that, if you do decide you want to run taller tires, well, the Ram has an 8-speed now, but I would prefer to have an option to get at least a 373 on this truck, and I really hope they fix that. But you guys see there, airbags. You can get airbags from the factory on the Ram. Ford does not give you that option, unfortunately. And here's what I'll tell you. Ford trucks do squat a good bit. I know that some people might disagree with me on that, but whenever I see a Ford truck get hooked up, they're typically squatting down the road. And if you don't see them squatting, it's probably because they have airbags. Ram might need a Hail Mary right now because it just keeps getting worse. So what's cool about the Ford is you can get the 7.3 liter engine with this configuration. If you would like the 6.4 liter Hemi, you'd have to go back to a crew cab long bed configuration. So if you want the bigger cab, you got to get the diesel. If you don't want the diesel, well, you got to skip this. And so you get better selection because of the cab size with this truck, okay? Now it does get worse. This truck has the high output, which means it's gonna have 500 horsepower, 1,200 pound-feet of torque. That is insane. And all that power does go through a 10-speed transmission. And remember I said, you can get a 410 out back. On this Ram, listen, even though it doesn't have the horsepower and torque that Ford has, this inline six design is still my favorite. I think that the way it performs is still at the top of the food chain for sure. 430 horsepower and 1,075 pound-feet of torque, so definitely outgunned for sure. And the Ford is faster whether you hook up a trailer or not. So you Ram fanboys out there who say, well, hook up a trailer, you don't want to see that either. But Ram's 8-speed transmission made by ZF is definitely going to really change the trajectory for Ram, because this truck rides like it should unloaded. Ford's always had a good 10-speed transmission, but I would say that right now, if I was going for reliability, that 8-speed has been used in Kenworth semi-trucks. So I'm willing to bet you're going to see reliability right out of the gate with that. Now, they did do some updates. They got away from the compacted graphite iron that the Ford has. Ford hasn't had any problems with theirs. The CGI that Ram had was having issues, so they went back to a cast iron block. And so they did do some updates with the intake manifold, no more grid heater. So this truck has glow plugs just like the Ford does. And so with that being said, depending on which truck you like better, I get it. Like if you're someone who loves the Cummins inline six, lesser moving parts, all that good stuff, then yeah, the Ram truck power doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, Ford has better options. And I think that if you're speccing out a truck, this is probably the one I would choose, guys. Like it's not about feelings, it's just fact. The powertrain options is just better, and the gearing options are better. I like the idea of the 342 because you have the 8-speed with deeper gears, but again, give people options. One thing I like about the Ram is you can get the black interior or this red interior despite having to get a more expensive package. I like that. And this red, in my humble opinion, is just something different. Ford did have something very similar in, what was it, 2022, I believe? And I like that interior as well. It had like real leather seats. It was beautiful, and it smelled like a Lexus interior. Let's go ahead and check out what that Ford has now. Notice how big the door is compared to the Ram. Totally different in the size, and that's where you're going to see the cab size difference. Now, I love the blue accents they give you, all soft touch leather. Both trucks have that. B&O, I believe this is a 16 speaker versus a 17 speaker. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Ram has the best sound system. I don't have to argue with that one for sure. You do have power pedals for both trucks. However, the Ram don't have a tilt and telescoping steering wheel. It's just tilt. Also, you don't get heads-up display with the Ram either. Also, you don't get massage function on the Ram either. So as I told you, even though I think that the interior is better, like in terms of the design, like look at the speaker grills on the Ford. It looks good. This is a really nice, well-executed interior. But I'm sorry, guys. It's not about feelings. This is just better executed. Look at the speaker grill, right? Both trucks have really nice seats. I like the overall, like the width of it. You can see you have nice width for the seat bottom. Great bolstering. Love the stitch accents that they give you. They both have tilt headrests. Now you do get this passenger screen on this side that's not available for the Ford. And here's where I think Ram's gonna clean up. For the guys who want the bed camper, you guys see this right here? This comes standard on the Ram. If you want a bed camper option on that Ford, you have to opt for it. It's $160, so it's not a lot of money, but this is just well executed. I don't understand why Ford in 2026 still makes you opt for this. And for some people, they need this package. And if you have any warranty issues with your framing and you're caught using a bed camper with that truck, you could get a voided warranty. Some of the big advantages on the Ram interior is you have a 14.5-inch display. Ford's is a 12-inch, so they haven't caught up quite yet. This truck was refreshed, right? So it's going to have some advantages that Ford it's not going to have. Like, for example, you have the dual chargers for wireless charging. This is nice because if you're on a long trip traveling, you guys know that these USBs are gonna overcharge your phone. So having a trickle charger while you're cruising down the highway for hours at a time, this is just better for long term. I do like the center console better for the RAM. I mean, this deep storage back here, you also get this top storage right there. Well executed, love how they designed it. Really nice wood treatment too. You don't get this 4K camera, and if this had the option with the extra cameras on the mirror, you would have a line down the middle and you can have tow mode, so you can have blind spot for this. And if you add a camera on the back of your trailer, you can have it for this as well. Not available for that Ford. So those are some really nice advantages on the Ram. I will say the camera system on the Ram is better too. It's a lot more clear, especially like the bed view camera. I think that Ford's is very grainy, and that's just my opinion, obviously. And what's nice about the Mega Cab is, yes, this cab is still smaller than the Ford, but you don't have reclined seats out back, nor do you have the storage behind the seat or underneath the seat that this truck has. So for me personally, this is still a really nice truck. Let's go ahead and check out that Ford. The first thing you notice getting out of a Ram and into a Ford is just how big the cab is out front. So with the Mega, you get that extra storage in the second row and behind it, but out front is basically like having a crew cab Ram, and that's where Ford wins hands down. I love the cab size for sure. You don't get a twin panel with the Ram truck, which is still crazy in 2026. And some people might even say, I prefer to have the storage versus the screen. But as I said, no slide-in camper is recommended for this truck. You have to get the camper package. Here's what I'll tell you. I'm not going to say that it will, you know, decline your warranty for your frame, but I would ask Ford if there's anything you can do to your truck if you already have one, because they may give you a way to go with it, right? Heated ventilated seats, that's on both sides, but as I said, you only get the massage function for the Ford and GM trucks in the highest trims. Now, you have drive modes. You don't have drive modes with that Ram, and you know, it's nice to have drive modes when you're unloaded. If you want to get in an eco mode going down the highway, that's really nice to have. And as I mentioned, heads-up display is right there. Hopefully you can see it. Out back, you can tell the cab is bigger even back here, especially for like the floor. So even though you have more space in the Ram, I still think the Ford might just edge it out just ever so slightly. So yeah, this seat's all the way back here, but as I mentioned, you have all that storage beneath the seat, you have all that storage behind the seat, you have the recline function, and again, execute it well. This interior is really nice. I love how wide this door opens too. This door is pretty big, probably about the same size as the Ford's. But yeah, if I had to pick a truck today, this would really be hard. Outboard heated seats on both sides. You have a 120 volt power plug, 20 amp. The Ram has a 115 volt plug. Let's go ahead and check out the payload capacity, and then that will pretty much end this video. Starting with the Ram, gross axle weight rating out front is going to be 6,000 pounds. The rear is 9,750 pounds. 14,000 pound gross vehicle rating, and then 17 by 6 wide wheels. All-in payload for this truck is 4,987 pounds. And you guys see the tire pressure, 65 in the rear, 80 out front. For the Ford, the front gross axle weight rating is going to be 5,600 pounds. If you got the camper package, it would probably be 6,002. The rear is 9,900 pounds, 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating, 17 by 6.5 wide wheels, and 5,350 pounds of payload. They recommend you run the tire pressure at 75 out front, which is better than 80, and then 65 in the rear. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If I had to buy a truck today between these two, I would definitely get the Ford. I'm just gonna tell you now, and you guys know I love Ram trucks. I've owned one. I haven't owned a Ford yet. I tried to. I ordered 2 Fords. One of them showed up, but at the time I was already pretty much not interested in buying anything at that point. But as I see it right here, Ram has some work to do. Now, I will tell you, if you are someone who wants the technology is slightly better for the Ram. As I said, if you do want to still use that rearview mirror, this does still have the tow mode. So if you put a camera on the back of your trailer, you can hook it up to there and it will show up in your rearview mirror. And I like that better than showing up on the screen, because you're not going to keep it up there on the screen. So that's the next best thing. But in the comment section, which truck do you like better? I think that Ford just executes better. And I think that because Ram has had so much time, they've allowed themselves to really fall behind in the segment. I think that if I were comparing long beds trucks with the air suspension and again all the technology, and with the inline six Cummins, the exhaust brake is still better for the Ram, but I get that. But I don't know, I think that if Ram were to do a complete redesign in the next couple years, they will really have to bring their A game now, because I think Ford is just a better buy right now. And one thing I will mention, you can probably buy this a lot cheaper than the Ford, so that's something else to consider. When it comes down to price, Ram typically has more rebates available, and that's where a lot of guys draw the line. Like, I'm not going to pay MSRP for a truck, so if a dealership's still holding there, I probably will jump to the next brand. And that's why even in the past, it's been hard for me to buy Ford trucks. Back in 2020 and 21, I did try to buy a Ford trim. I never told you guys about it. I was going to get a Ford 7.3, but every dealership I was talking to was $5 grand, $7,500 over MSRP, and I was like, I'm not doing that. So I just never bought a Ford truck at the time. Now, Ram, on the other hand, they were ready to wheel and deal, but I'd already owned one, so I didn't feel the need to do any updates. And as I've said, they've waited so long to really make changes that now I'm just waiting for them to do a complete redesign. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section. See you guys soon.